Hey, this is Viz, your Levittown delegate from the Philadelphia skateboarding scene. I'm here with my main man's Andrew Cannon. This cannon's too nice for falling. He scalped the chief and didn't stop chilling till he hit Santa Cruz, California, where he's permanently chilling. He turned down the opportunity to live at the Black Box Warehouse to manage the likes of Darth Vader, the Cabbage Patch Kids, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Screaming Angry Hand, Chewbacca, Auto Rocket, and Tommy Asta, the Bull. Sit back, enjoy this interview, and listen to this cannon. He might be able to teach you the difference between you, yous, and use guys.
It'll be fine though.
But we're good now.
We're good. We're rolling.
All right, so I'll try to sit with it. Okay. Posture.
Welcome back to the Citywide. This time we're coming at you a little different. We're in Fairman's.
Switch the
early in the morning, doing shots of espresso.
Yeah,
our
no
coffee.
drinking this
No
early,
drinking.
so.
Sober interview. Might be a good one this time.
Yeah, might be a little more cohesive than past ones.
We have very, very special guest with us, Andrew Cannon. Thank you for joining us, Andrew.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me and saying special.
So how you been, bud? Back on the East Coast. What brings you back?
Steindel's getting married.
Shout out to Steindl for inviting me to the wedding.
Buddy. Yeah.
I heard
don't
about
actually know
that.
that dude, so.
I heard about it. Yeah, no, so I came back for that. And then my family's all from here.
That's awesome.
And so my parents and my wife's parents live like a mile from each other. So basically, we flew all the kids back.
So that was fun.
You know what? They were really good.
Really?
They were super
That's awesome.
good. Yeah. I mean, even so, we have 3-year-old twins, and then we have a 4-month-old little boy.
Oh, wow.
And so we brought the whole squad, and they were all really good. Like nothing major. Like it was actually really fun.
That's awesome.
Because my son's like super excited about airplanes. And so did the trip, and they're gonna stick around for like a month and just spend time with family, and then I'm gonna go back and work a lot and skate a lot and ride my bike and
That's
just
awesome.
kind of. I got a bunch of
Mellow
trips.
out.
Yeah, but
Yeah, decompress.
So, last year, they try to do it every year, at least once, if not twice. But last year, my wife was pregnant, so they only did it once, and so it was like, oh, this is gonna be like cool, whatever. But we were editing the Santa Cruz video, so like literally they left
Right
and
to
we
exist.
jumped right in, and it was just like the longest fucking days at the office.
Yeah.
It was like get there at 7, leave at midnight, leave at 1. Like
Damn.
Joe Perrin was such a fucking trooper, and it was awesome.
That dude makes incredible videos.
Yeah, he is so
It's a
good
sick
at what he does.
project.
So we're in Fairman's, we're in Westchester. This is all very relevant to your growing up. So you grew up right around here, correct?
Yeah, I was so I grew up in Glen Mills, like Thornton area, and it's about 15 minutes from here. And yeah, I grew up on this farm. It wasn't a working farm, but it was like a farm. My mom dreamed of having horses when she was like younger.
Did she have horses?
My dad, yeah.
Oh, no.
Like,
Wow.
that's-
Did you
So
ride
you
when
grew
you
up,
were
you
younger?
grew up with a little pony?
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't have a pony. No, she had like it's like this hand-me-down horse, basically. like an older horse.
Yeah.
And
Don't look a gift
she had
horse
it
in the
forever.
mouth, I guess. Yeah.
It was, but it was awesome. Like, it was just, that's the kind of shit to me that like I saw growing up, and it's like, yeah, I want to do that for my wife, Not that she wants a horse,
Yeah.
But I think that's awesome.
So when did you find skateboarding growing up on a farm?
So I found it through Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
Like,
sick.
That was what got me.
Yeah.
into
Solid
skating.
introduction.
Yeah, and then I wanted to start skating because of that, and then my parents, I think they got me like a Nash board when I was really little and like rolled around, but nothing. And then 5th grade, my friend Colin Mason, who lived down the street, he was like my first real intro to Fairman's. He lived in town. I'd go over to his house and we'd come to Fairman's, and I remember like we'd come in and buy stickers, and we would buy like I bought a beanie, like he'd buy small
what
things.
What era of Fairman's was this when you were?
So this
coming
is
here
down
as
the
a kid?
street. This is when like Alex Hale was here, and Josh Riley, and like Ken was here, and Chris Rawls, like everyone was here, and like Dave, and it was just so rad and terrifying. And like I had a Nash board with plastic trucks, and Colin had like a proper board, and we came in like in 5th grade the whole school year, and we were like, what board are we gonna get? Because I was like, I'm gonna get it after Christmas. And so my grandfather owned a flower store in Ridley area, and so I worked selling Christmas trees all year, or all winter, and then I saved up like $140 something.
Wow.
And so I brought it in the day after Christmas, and I bought a Birdhouse Paul Zitzer germ board, which is that one. And then I got like Grind King trucks, Birdhouse wheels, probably like NMB or Quickie bearings. I don't remember which they were. And so that was my first like real board. But I can't, it's funny because how life works out. Because now I work for Santa Cruz, and when I came into the shop, I'll never forget, I saw 2 boards on the wall that I was psyched on. It was like this Birdhouse board that I was like, oh my God, I want a Birdhouse so bad. But there was a Santa Cruz board, and it was green, like prismatic. And so it was like super shiny, and I was like, oh, and I had no idea Santa Cruz was a town. I didn't care, you know, and I just was like, that board looks amazing. And I wanted to buy it, but it was $10 more, and I only had like $140. So I got the Birdhouse board.
So coming into the shop, when did you see, what was your first skate video that you were like, this is sick, I want to go out and film?
It was kind of I don't think it was really like a video that made me want to go film, but like my first videos were, it was kind of like a bunch of videos that all came together. It was like Mouse, Sheep's Life of Leisure.
Man,
wow.
It's a solid introduction to skating.
Thrill of It All.
Damn.
But I was actually a little bit like intimidated by Thrill of It All. And like Best of 4-on-1, it was the one that had Rodney Mullen in it. It was like those videos. And then when I really started wanting to like skate and film was Jump Off a Building came out. And I was in town with my mom, and we were coming to buy a new board. And I bought a Guy Mariano girl board, and it was yellow. And I just remember being like, this is the best. I saw Colin here, and he was like, oh, dude, I'm going to this video premiere tonight at Westchester University. Do you want to go? And I was like, Mom, can I go? And she was like, yeah. So I bought a ticket, and we went and saw Jump Off a Building in Westchester at the like theater.
It doesn't get any more iconic than that.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
And so it was like that, and then Shorty's Fulfill the Dream. And that shit changed my life. And then as time went on, it was like, we would watch The Sixth Sense, and that's when I started to become just like in love with K-List, and you know, like that Photosynthesis, and you know, I'm a huge K-List fan. Like I'm really into like punk rock and hardcore and like all black and shit, but like if I could, I would just wear DC Links and fucking swooshy pants, but it's just like not me as a person, but like
only a handful of people can pull that off.
That's why I'm like all hyped on John Shanahan. I'm just like, that was sick.
Shout out my boy Shanahan.
Yeah. He hit me up the other day about grip, and I was just like,
yes, whatever
dude,
grip you want, whatever you want.
Like, please.
Damn, is he sliding into those DMs?
Dude, Dude, there's a lot of DMs sliding these days.
Yeah, so it does pay off.
Hell yes. Well, it depends on who it is. Some people are like too cool to check that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, somebody wants to talk to me? Oh, cool. You know? But yeah, so
Jump Off a Building premiere definitely changed it all for you.
Yeah.
I have an awesome story about like, so I've only met Ed Templeton a handful of times, and he is like, he's the fucking dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's the guy that I'm like, he's just the greatest. He does amazing art. He always had the raddest style. He's fucking vegan. He's like, is like not party. He's just like the ultimate, you know?
Yeah.
And so he, one time I went over to my friend Greg Young's, and so Bam was dating this girl, Catherine Morrison's sister. And basically Greg lived like on this street right here. Then there was like some grass backyards and shit. Catherine lived on this street right up here. And so I showed up like maybe 15 minutes late to come skate with everybody. And they all come running out and they're like, dude! And I'm like, what? And they're like, we just met Ed Templeton. And I was like,
oh no.
No! Is he still there? No, they left. And he basically like went over with Bam to Catherine's house. And he fucking drew stuff on all their t-shirts and signed them.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. It was just one of those situations where like as a kid you're like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ed Templeton, they all fucking met Ed Templeton. And it took me years to
get there.
Yeah, I finally met him, which was rad. But I still feel weird.
Did you draw on your shirt?
Yeah.
No, he's like.
You guys are a little past that point?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, I don't even know him. You know what I mean? Like, I've just like done like quick interviews and stuff, and I always just feel like he's just that dude that like, I don't know if I'll ever get past that point because he's so fucking. He like means so much to me as a skater. You know, as like a
timeless style.
Yeah, just sick fanning out.
Yeah.
So when did the idea of being like a sponsored skateboarder come into play?
I mean, I always wanted to like do it, you know. Like,
I mean, that's the dream,
yeah, like
trying to fulfill the dream.
Like anyone that knows me knows that I'm like pretty intense and I'm pretty like all right, fuck it, yeah, we're gonna do it, you know. And so I think it was like pretty young. I wanted to like get sponsored and all that stuff, but the cool thing was it was only because I'm really goal oriented. Like, so I was like, yeah, I want to get sponsored, I want to do this, I want to try, you know. And really what it all was about was traveling, because I watched those Europe like 99 and Europe 2000 videos that like 4on1 put out, and that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to go to Europe and skateboard. And
most people do.
Yeah, and it's like that's literally all it is. The cool thing is like it's way more accessible now. You know, like and it's all these people. They're like, we just got an apartment and we skated there for a month.
Pre-internet.
Yeah, it's insane. Like Airbnb or whatever, you can just like go and like it's all easy.
You can DM a skater out there. Yo, can you show me around? Oh yeah, I got you.
It's crazy. You know, it's just a whole different world.
Networking is so much easier. Yeah.
So, so yeah, that was my whole goal, was like to travel, and it fucking worked. It worked, you know, like.
So what was your first traveling experience, and with who?
Well, my first like real traveling experience was I won this contest out here. It was a Globe Wildcard Series, and so I won it at Borderline. Basically, they took the top qualifiers and flew them all out to California, and then they took the top 2 from that contest and flew to Australia for the Globe World Cup.
And you went to Australia?
I got second.
So you were killing it.
I went to Australia. It was insane. And so I went, but I extended my trip. And my friend Rye Manos flew out to meet me.
Oh, wow.
And we just went skating for like 3 weeks after the contest. And it was so cool. And it was like, dude, I think I was it maybe 18 or 19?
So you were young.
Yeah. I was 19, yeah.
Fresh out of high school.
Finished high school. Went, like, I took a year off college, and my parents were like not sure. They were like, what? Or, like a year off before trying to go to college.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got that trip, my dad was like, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
It's totally worth taking the year.
Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime experience.
And it was so cool. It was like so much fun, and you know, like we were just drinking and having fun and being younger, and and it ruled. So that was like my first actual trip.
Parents have always been supportive of.
Super supportive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my parents have. It's funny because they were always really supportive. But at the same time, like, I have this awesome story about my dad. He didn't tell me this until like years later, you know. So there was a contest, Beast of the East, because on the East Coast you come up like at that time through contests, and I still think there's a lot of people that do. They go to like Damn Ams and they meet people. And
what time period is this for people that don't personally know
This is like 2000 to 2004 was my high school years, and so that was when I went to a lot of contests. But I think it was around 2000. There was a Beast of the East contest. I like entered in it, and then I qualified into this like finals in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh shit!
And so I asked my dad, like, Dad, would you be down to take me? You know, and I'm like, come on, it'd be awesome. And he's like, all right. And so I qualified in like the advanced category because I wasn't sponsored. And so he took me. We went. It was super fun, and I got 3rd place. We fly home. I met some rad people out there, and I fly home, and whatever, just skating goes on, and all of a sudden I'm like, 26, 27, and my dad tells me the story. He's like, I took you to that contest to get beaten. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I brought you there so that you could get beaten and then just chill, like stop like trying to do. He's like, but then I brought you there, and he's like, and I remember calling your mom being like, shit, it kind of backfired. he's like actually pretty okay. It was pretty good. So yeah, it was like this funny.
After that, they never doubted you.
I'm sure that at that time it was probably weird because they're like, what is my son trying to do?
Yeah.
But so when I got into high school too, like my freshman year, I was like, all right, I got to do well my freshman year, and then I can slack off a bit on my sophomore and junior, and then senior year you just fuck right off.
Yeah.
And so I got my GPA up high my freshman year, and then just kept slowly but surely like caring less, and then I think I ended with like a fine GPA, because I was like, at some point I'll have to go to college.
Yeah. So growing up in Westchester, did you ever skate Philly or try to head down there, hit Love, anything?
We didn't get to skate Philadelphia much because we're out in the burbs, and like, so my good friend Chris Mathis, he would always go like as a kid because he was really close to the train station, but our train station didn't go directly
Didn't
to Philly.
exist at that time.
Yeah, it was like we had like this small train station that wasn't like really working, so just trying to get down there was a pain. So honestly, I skated alone a lot, and I just skated in. My parents had a like a farm, and so they had a barn area, and so we built a box, and I just would skate a box back and forth all day.
That sounds like a pretty good setup.
It's awesome, and it's cool because when I moved to Arizona, I met a bunch of people, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're going like skating alone?" And I was like, "Yeah, you guys don't do that." And for them, it's like this group friend activity.
Yeah, they seem pretty squad heavy out there.
Super, very group, and but like it's never been about people with me. It's always just been about me and skateboarding, which I think is awesome because, I'll be able to do that forever no matter where I am.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
So speaking of Chris Mathis, let's talk about World.
Hey, what's up, Charlie?
Hey, Andrew. I'm just checking in, seeing how filming's going, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you get introduced or onto World, like at the beginning?
So we were on a trip in Albuquerque, and it was like this ergo trip with Matt Price was there. He was shooting photos, and then like Ronnie Krieger was there, and because he was on for a bit.
Oh, gee.
Sean Hale. I think Tom Gelfis was there. Kai Reeler was out there on that one.
Wow,
Yeah.
sick.
And so we went on this trip, and basically I was getting some boards from Consolidated, and those guys are super awesome. But like Letitia was always so cool. And basically I was talking to Price about it, and he said that his friend worked over at World, and I was like, fuck yeah, because I grew up on World.
Yeah.
And like Flame Boy Wet Willie, like I have zero qualms with being like, I still love that shit. You know, I just think it's like, it's like just nostalgic
classic.
to me, you know? It was my childhood. And so I was like, dude, I would love to skate for those dudes. Like Flame Boy and Wet Willie, that's awesome. And, you know, I knew it was like totally cheesy, but I didn't care because I just wanted to ride skateboards, and like, I just wanted to look down and connect with something that like made me feel like a kid. You know? And so it was rad. I gave him some footage, and then I met RP at Phoenix Am, and I like went out skating with those dudes, and then they started sending me some boards, and I remember I got like a box, and they sent me like 6 boards or something like that, and I was like, oh my god, this is real. Crazy, you know, because I'd never gotten like that many boards in a box. And I was 20, I think I was maybe 20 or 21, and yeah, and then they just took care of me, you know, and it was cool. Like I got like Osiris for a while, and then I had asked about like, hey, could you guys help me with this trip? I want to go to China, and they were like, oh, we can't help you, whatever. But World was like, hey, we'll give you some money if you're down to skate for the shoes, and the shoes were trash. But it was the difference between having to work at college and go skating and not work.
And I think that's what's really funny about today's age is kids are like, oh, I don't want to do that, that's not cool. But there's such a small time frame of where you can make money in skateboarding.
The window of opportunity is
the window of opportunity is really small. So if you can take something and fucking kind of sell out or be cheesy for like a small window of time, but do what you want to do out of it.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. Life's about compromises. So.
And it depends on like who you are, because you know, like I probably looked really cheesy, but I've never changed who I was. You know what I mean? Like, and so, you know, I've always been the same dude. And there's people on the outside that are like, well, that guy's corny, whatever. It's like, yes. But at the same time,
yes, I'm corny.
But like, you know what, dude? They helped facilitate what I always wanted.
You got to go to China,
travel.
So yeah, you got to do cool shit.
And the thing is too, like, RP Bass and Charlie Thomas and like Derek and Shetler and Timmy and all those dudes, like, and Mathis, like those guys are all my friends. You know, like I had a great time traveling with those guys and hanging out with those guys.
You did something pretty crazy too. You took World, which at the time was a little cheesy, a little corny. But I remember for a solid time period, you made it cool.
You guys built
that brand. Like you put Mathis on, and
built it
was
back up.
tight.
We tried, you know. And it was like, there were just, you know, there were just things about it that were like, they just would never probably work. But that's okay. I mean, we all had a really good time with it, and
they turned you pro.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, and
pro board is a big accomplishment.
Yeah. But, you know, and I'll say this forever, and it's not like a fishing for compliments thing, but, like, I know where I fell on the spectrum of it all, you know what I mean? And it's like, I got fucking lucky to have my name on a board, and that's really cool. But, like, you know, I just look at what, like, a pro is. Like, so now I sit on the other side of the desk, and I would have never turned to be pro. Which is, like, it's a hilarious thing to, like, sit there and be like, that's fucking insane. Because I would never do that, you know? But it was like, you know, it was really rad to have that time and to be able to do what I got to do, because it was just
That's
like
awesome.
Yeah, it's a great experience.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, like at the end of the day, I was able to, you know, we bought a house in Arizona because of skateboarding in all ways, like through announcing, through working for ESPN and doing writing stuff, and then through, you know, having a board and all that. Like, it was insane, you know, and houses are very cheap in Arizona. Let me be very clear. You know? But, you know, it was super cool to be able to do that.
How many people can say they bought a house off skateboarding? So
it was cool. It was cool.
So how did the whole world thing kind of like die out?
We all kind of knew that, so we did like a month-long tour, and we did a bunch of stuff, or a summer-long tour, and at the end, I think we all sort of felt like the sales aspect of it was just not kind of clicking.
Yeah.
And I think we all felt a little bit defeated in that, on that front. Just
you guys
like
put so much into it.
Yeah, we put a lot of heart into it.
Summer-long tour sounds kind of grueling, to be honest. That's a lot of skating.
We took our own cars too.
Oh wow!
Wow,
like,
so you really put your all into it.
Yeah, like I drove my car across the country with like Mike Franklin, and it was like Mike, Derek Fukuhara, and Matt Mendenhall. I think it was just the three of us. We drove all the way across the country to do it, you know. And then like Shetler met us, and then we just like did this whole like East Coast thing.
Yeah,
it was super fun.
Mathis was on that tour too, right?
Yeah, and then I don't know if Mathis drove back with us. He might have. Or if we just met him in PA, but he was on it, and it was just like super rad, you know. But yeah, it was one of those things that it just didn't have. The company wasn't set up the way that it was to succeed. You know, because RP's great, and he was doing everything that he could, and it just sometimes like when you have non-skateboarders running skateboard companies, it's just hard. Yeah, you know, it's really tough, and. But we had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, but dude, it was gnarly. Like, got back from this trip, and I was with Haslam and some Russian guys and our German friend, and we were all skating in the Balkans. So we flew into Romania, then we went to Bulgaria, Macedonia, and then to Greece, and we did this trip. It was super rad, and we were in a park in Sofia, Bulgaria. And we're like looking around, skating, whatever. And Chris and I were just having coffee one morning, and I was like, "Fuck, dude! Like, this is coming to an end." And I was like, "Man, I'm ready to have kids." And he was like, "What?" And he was like kind of tripping on it. And I was like, "Yeah, dude. I just see all these families, whatever. Like, I'm ready to be a dad." And he was just like, "Whoa!" Like super heavy. Yeah. And he was stoked. And then I got back from that trip, sat down, went to dinner with my wife, and told her, I was like, "I'm ready to be a dad." And she just starts laughing at me. I'm like, "What the fuck?" I was like,
probably not the reaction you're looking for.
Turns out she was sitting in the car debating whether or not she was going to tell me that same thing at dinner. So it was like this really random thing.
Perfect timing.
So we're like, "Oh, this is awesome. We'll have kids, whatever." And then like a week later, I get the phone call like, "Hey, we gotta cut the program, you know, like whatever." And I'm like, "Okay." So like all of a sudden it was just like job was like, phew.
Yeah.
And so it was a pretty stressful like. So we ended up being like, she was like real stressed about having kids, and I was like, "Fuck that! There's a reason we wanted to do this. Like, we're gonna do it. There's money out there. We'll figure it out." You know? And so that's when I started like trying to figure out a job. It was like the most stressful.
Yeah, it sounds
5 months ever.
It's hard to find a job without trying to have kids.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then we find out we're having twins. I still don't have like a proper job, and I'm like,
probably a lot of late nights.
The hair's starting to fall out.
Yeah, dude, it's not good up top. Like, I'm wearing a hat way too big for my head, but because it's just not looking good up there.
So, find out you're having twins. No job. What's the first thing you do after world crashes?
I just started thinking about what the hell am I going to do next. And so Matt Price, my friend who helped me get on World in the first place, he has this small skateboard company called Brimley.
Yeah, that part is awesome.
And so we were like, "Oh, let's just do that," you know, like. And so we talked about it, and so he was like, "All right, we'll give you a board."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, let's just do this," you know. And so we got some boards made, and it was like, basically they were about to come out, and then I had seen Keith Wilson, my friend who is the independent brand manager. I'd known Keith throughout the years, just seen him at contests. And so I had seen that there was a Santa Cruz brand manager position online on Malachi, that like skateboarding website.
Yeah, I check it every now and then.
And so I looked and I was like, ooh. I was like, I don't think I could get that job. but that would be a cool job, you know, because I had been out to Santa Cruz. Haslam's parents lived in Watsonville, right near where I now live.
Oh, wow.
And so I had gone out and like stayed and skated with him and stuff, and I was like, dude, this is kind of like the East Coast, you know? It's a lot like windy roads, it's green, whatever, except there's a fucking huge ocean. And so I talked to Keith about it and was like, hey, is that job still available? He's like, you want to be the Santa Cruz brand manager? And I was like, I mean, I don't know, you know, like maybe that'd be sweet.
You tell me. Yeah.
And so we had a good talk, and he was just kind of like, well, what do you think needs to happen with Santa Cruz? And I just gave him my like, here's what I think needs to happen. And we talked for like probably an hour or something like that. And he's like, okay, well, hit me up, you know? And so I hit him up like maybe the next day. And he's like, all right, here's Jeff Kendall's email. And he's like, he's the vice president and he's my boss. And he was like, here's Jeff's email. Shoot him an email, you know, with your resume. I was like, should I include a cover letter? And he's like, nah, you don't need to worry about that. And I was like, damn, I'm going to write a cover letter anyway. And I got all nervous. And
cover letters suck.
You know what? It was really easy for this because it's skateboarding.
Well, yeah,
skateboarding,
I'm not like trying to work for, you know, some crazy shit.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, skateboarding. But so I just told him about how like I worked for a brand that had those reissue roots and was like trying to do it, but didn't do it correctly.
Yeah.
And I totally understand how everyone loves this era of the brand and blah, blah, blah. And I got an email back and it was like, can you talk today at 4:30? And I was like, whoa. And so we got on the phone and we talked for like an hour and a half. And it was a great conversation. And I was like, I like that guy. You know, like he's on it. He's like, cool, I'm going to have the HR lady call you and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, whoa, this like has potential. I heard nothing for like 3 weeks. And I was all like,
oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, I was super honest in the like just initial phone call. And I was like, I probably fucked up. Yeah. Like I definitely probably said some stuff I shouldn't have said. And then having gotten to know Jeff, like, no, definitely not. He would way rather hear it straight up than anything else. So I talked to HR, and I was like, okay, cool, this sounds like rad. She's like, all right, I'm going to set up an interview with you and the brand manager. So it was this guy, Lucas, at the time, who was also the art director. And basically, we were going to talk the following, like, Monday, or maybe the following Tuesday or something like that. And the Thursday before, I get a phone call, or I get hit up, maybe text message, whatever, from Jamie Thomas. And so, just real quick backpedal, Jamie and I've known Jamie for a long time. At one point, I almost went and worked for Fallen.
No shit.
And it was right after I turned pro, and I was like, no, I'm going to just keep skating. He hit me up. We had this really awesome talk. I have a lot of respect for that guy.
Damn, you could have saved Fallen, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't have done it. I didn't have the experience to do it. And so Jamie hit me up, and I had spoken to him months earlier and was like, hey, if anything comes about, like, let me know. I'm having kids. I'm trying to figure out what my next steps are in life.
Yeah.
So he hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to be the Zero and Fallen brand manager?
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit.
The chief.
Know? So he hit me up on like Thursday, and I was like, dude, I'm literally in the middle of talking with Santa Cruz right now. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, so I talked to Santa Cruz on Monday or Tuesday and was like, hey, if I'm actually a candidate for this, like, just so you know, like, I got hit up the other day for these same jobs. And it was like, I think, dude, it was like the saving grace, because NHS moves relatively slowly on that stuff. Because they're really, that's how they do it. They're like, we hire slow, we want to get the right people.
Yeah.
And so we all started talking about it, and then I went out and visited Jamie and like saw what was going on there. They had already moved out of Black Box. They were in their like temporary spot. And then I went out and visited NHS. And dude, when I went up to NHS, I was like 98% sure I was going to work for Jamie, because I love Jamie. Dude, I'm a huge Zero fan. I still fucking love Zero. And I was like, you know, it was like really important to me. And like I wanted to help and be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I just knew I'd learn a ton from Jamie too, you know, because he does it. Yeah. He's like, he can do everything.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I got up there and I met everyone at NHS, everyone was like super happy and stoked, and it seemed, and when I sat down and talked, it was like Bob DeNike is the president and Jeff is the vice president. And in the interview stuff, Bob said, he was like, we would rather you try and fail and learn from it and like, you know, keep doing and keep trying than do the same thing that's always been done. And for me, that was like I have chills thinking about that, because I was like, oh my God, like if you're a person coming into a brand, that's especially a brand that's been around for a long time, like Zero's been around a long time. Santa Cruz has been around for a long time.
Yeah, even longer, yeah.
You need to have that, like, ability to make some
trial
change.
and error, yeah.
And it was crazy, you know. And in the end, the big thing was my wife I brought my wife and I went up to Santa Cruz, and she was like, was awesome. She was super pregnant at the time, like super pregnant with the twins.
Yeah.
She was actually sick. She got like crazy sick for like 2 days for almost the whole time we were there. But we got out of the flight and drove down, and she's like, oh, I feel so sick. And she looks up and looks off the freeway, and there's deer over in this like little field, and she's like, oh, deer. I swear to God, those deer were like the thing. That was like what sold her. She saw deer.
Yeah.
And so
reminded her of home, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, I'd rather live up there. Like, I think that's where we should raise the kids. And I was like, I agree. I think it's a better spot than like Southern California, because we would be inland, whereas that place is, everything in Santa Cruz is like so close to the beach.
Yeah.
That we were like beach, mountains, all this shit. Like that's the coolest thing we could do as parents, you know?
Yeah.
And NHS seemed like such a rad opportunity. And so they offered me the job, and it was like so heartbreaking to say no to Jamie, because like I said, I fucking love Jamie, and I have a ton of respect for him and what he does. And but it was so cool to start this new chapter of like being on the other side of the desk and taking all the stuff that I learned and all the things that I didn't like about trips and stuff like that, and being able to like positively affect change the best I could, you know.
Yeah.
So as a Santa Cruz brand manager, I have to tell you that you've done the impossible. You've made a brand called Santa Cruz relevant on the East Coast.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, you know, man, so I've been super lucky from the standpoint of like I've had a lot of really awesome people that I work with, and they've let me make some decisions that, you know, were not favorable decisions at the time and have turned out to be the right decisions. It was a really gnarly, it was gnarly. You know? It's really easy to sit there and be like, oh, people are just getting cut and like people are being added. It is fucking agonizing.
Yeah.
And
Slap had some heat on you for a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what, Slap, I'll tell you what though, I fucking love Slap, man.
Oh,
they've been always very kind to me.
Ask,
but what's cool is they'll call it like they see it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's better to know than.
Yeah. And like, look, from an outsider's perspective, they were like, that dude's fucking up. I was like, yeah, it probably looks like that's what I'm doing. But the coolest thing, so I do a lot of like, I read a lot of that self-help stuff, and I read a lot of those like, you know, business books and like life books, you know, and listen to them just because like I just want to grow as a person. And one thing that like in listening to like CEOs of companies and shit like that talk, they say that the job of like the CEO and the manager is to see what nobody else sees and to just trust in that. And I didn't realize at the time that's what I was doing because I didn't have the confidence because I was so new at all of it. And like when everyone is like talking shit on you and saying terrible things about you online.
Yeah, it's probably hard to stay.
It's harsh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what we did was with Santa Cruz, it was like, okay, we have to make some changes, and I have to give a ton of credit to Matt Price because Matt has been there for me forever, you know. Helped me with World, did the Brindley stuff. Matt came on as team manager, and he was team manager for about 6 months. And Matt came in and really helped me to feel like more confident in my role, and like he helped me with all these ideas and stuff like that. And you know, obviously there's a lot of people internally at NHS that helped me learn a lot of stuff too, but Matt was this like outsider that helped me to realize like I could do these things, and like these ideas
Positive
that I had
reinforcement.
were good ideas. Like I felt like I had somebody on my team that was like, no, this is what we should do. And I was like, okay, thanks, dude. Because it's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like, it is really scary going to make changes. And so, yeah, like, we put Tom Asta on, and it was so cool. Like,
yeah, dude is unreal.
He's so good. It's crazy, too, because when we put him on, you know, he had been off Mystery for a little while. He was on LRG, and he just, like, he was so sick, and it was, like, just talking with him, he was like, dude, I'm down. And it was rad because during the talks, like, I know he was talking with people he really trusted, and they were like, dude, you shouldn't do it. And he put trust in me, you know? Like, he was like, nah, man, I'm going to try this. And I will never forget that. Like, Tom is like...
the man.
Dude,
nicest dude.
He came over, and he helped because, you know, we were just in this position where... you know, the guys had been all doing what they were doing, and Tom came over, and he's just such a workhorse. He's like going.
Yeah.
And then all these younger dudes were like, "Whoa, Tom!"
Yeah.
And so we got some younger guys that were part of the program.
The team is sick right now.
Yeah,
and it's back. But it's so cool because, you know, like E-Man's been there forever.
Yeah, that dude's awesome.
So fucking
that
sick.
transroll part is so good.
He's so sick.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw some footage of him. They were on his trip in Sacramento, and he did this fucking, it was at a skate park, but it was up a Eurogap, kickflip front 5 180, and he just looks so sick.
Wow.
Yeah, he's dope.
And it was rad because, like, when all these guys came on, it, like, got him going.
Yeah.
You know, like, got him sparked.
Kind of
and
ends
so,
like the stagnation or whatever he might have been feeling.
Yeah.
I think he's been through a lot. Like,
Yeah.
we've had
He's
to
He's
talk
been
about
on the brand
yeah.
for a long
He's
time,
seen it
so he's
all.
probably seen like the ups and downs of it and whatnot, so he knows.
Yeah, and but so it's been really fun, man. Like, it's just been cool to try stuff. Like, we're in such a cool spot with the brand because we do so many things. Like, we do licensing shit.
Yeah.
We've done like, you know, we've done stuff with Star Wars and Marvel and, you know, and then we'll do like, we make cruisers and longboards and shit like that, you know, and we're like tapering off that and doing more like reissue shot style cruisers, like Rob Face stuff, and that's been really fun. But like Santa Cruz is just, and we have all this business in the town from the t-shirts. It's crazy. If you've never been there, like you go there and it's like everyone's like, oh, did you get the uniform? Oh, here you go. Everyone wears like classic dot. You're like, this is crazy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like basically they let me try, and we're in a position right now where like it's working, and you know, it's always hard when people put people on the team, you know, and I totally get that. But the whole thing always was like, let's just put good people on the team, like not like great skateboarders, but like good people.
Human beings.
Yeah.
Because they'll get in the van and everyone will hang.
Yeah. The worst thing in the van is like a negative person.
Yeah.
It brings the whole squad
There's egos or just like all types of nutty behavior.
Yeah, and it's totally cool to be wild and like be a weird, like interesting dude. You know?
If that's your like brand or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, some people are just they're just unique. Like Eric Winkowski is fucking special.
Oh my.
That dude grinds handrails. I don't know how
he's amazing.
He grinds handrails.
That's so sick. You guys turned him pro, and that pro board is so fucking tight.
Yeah.
Dude, wait, we have some more because I don't know when this comes out, but basically we have that board. We have 2 new colorways coming out, and we're gonna drop like one drop, and then they're gonna go, and then we have another colorway that we're gonna have just like kind of waiting in the wings. But they're insane. They're so cool looking. Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's a rad, unique dude too. Like, he's just this like really interesting, fun dude, and he's like real quiet, but like as soon as you get him talking, you're like, oh, he's like so cool, and he gives the best hugs. Like he's like super strong.
Good at skateboarding, but he gives the best hugs.
Better hugger.
We put him on the team for the hugs.
Yeah, it's really the hugs that seal the deal.
We were like, he's here for the hugs, but we'll take the skating.
It's so rad. He can do like ho-hos and then just board slide like the gnarliest.
Yeah, he's amazing.
The sickest thing though was you guys were on a trip somewhere, and him and Asta played a game of skate against each other, but Winkowski did it on Asta's board, and Asta did it on Winkowski's board.
So that was the day we turned him pro, and they were in Amsterdam, and we like, the whole thing was, how do we make this, because his parents are super awesome.
Yeah.
And we were like, how do we make this something that like his parents can watch, and how can we make it so that like everyone at NHS can be a part of it?
Yeah.
And so we were like, fuck it, let's do it Instagram live. We'll just do it under the guise of like him and Tom play a game of skate on each other's boards, because we were like, that'll get people to tune in, because they'll be like, oh, whoa, that sounds crazy. And so they did that, and then Remillard brought out his pro boards, and then they still played the game of skate, and it was awesome because Eric won, you know? We just have a really good group of people, and it's funny because I was talking to Tom, they were all in town filming this thing the other night, and this guy Joey Digital, who's, he's like filmed for Skate Mental and Nike and stuff, he was on a trip with the guys, and he's like, damn, you guys don't really party. And they're like, well, I mean, we like, you know, have beers and stuff like that, but like, we skate. Like, it's, my whole thing was like, I want skate rats. Like, I want dudes on the team that are like, they love skating. And that's 100% what it is. It's like, all these dudes are just so psyched on going skating.
Yeah.
And then they feed off of each other. And like, it's so sick to see like Asta skating mini ramp and stuff like that. And like, it's just, to me, it's so cool.
Yeah, man, dude, you're killing it over at Santa Cruz, man. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Lots of good things
It's fun.
over there.
Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Yeah, thank you,
It was
man.
a
Thanks for having me.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great.
Only hope the best for you and Santa Cruz, dude.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.